Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Layne and I'm a doctorally prepared family nurse practitioner. And I'm on this channel sharing with you guys my academic and career journey, all of my tips and tricks, and just lessons that I'm learning along the way. And if you've been following me for a little bit, you'll realize that yes, I did graduate and I also passed my board exams, if you'll see the title of this video. But yes, I'm so excited. I'm excited because, this is a big accomplishment and just a good close to a very long chapter of my career, and also the beginning of a huge chapter as well. And I'm also excited because that means I get to share a lot of the things that I've been learning in terms of studying for my board exams, graduation, job hunting, all that stuff with you guys. So I definitely am going to have a lot of videos coming, and there'll be a lot of different series going on pretty much. But yeah, so for this video, I did want to focus on really what I did, what my process was for studying for boards. And I'll probably have another video that talks about things that I wish I had done differently, or maybe things that would work for different people. But for this one, I just wanted to kind of stick to, guys, if you want to know exactly what I did, this is it. And yes, I did pass my boards within 2 weeks of graduation. And I know it sounds crazy, and I will be the first to say that this is not for everyone. Not everyone needs to do this. But if you have some extenuating circumstances, or you just really want to get your boards done as soon as possible and you feel like this is manageable for you, I wanted to share this video for people who were curious or just wanted to figure out if they could make this work. So that being said, let's get into today's video. So the first thing that I did getting into this was I used the Leak book. And this was a great foundation for my learning. I knew already that I wanted to take the boards pretty soon after graduation because I just wanted to take the summer off. So in January, February is when I started reading through this book. And I pretty much made a calendar of dividing it up by system. And so I would say, okay, 1 week I'm doing cardiac, 1 week I'm doing respiratory, and then I would go from there. So maybe I was doing maybe 2 to 3 hours a week initially with reading the Leak book. And I wasn't going super in depth with like taking copious notes. I mean, I did do some highlighting, but it was just pretty much for general information at first and just seeing generally what kind of content would be on the exam and what things that I hadn't learned about in school or things that like I needed to refresh on. So I felt like Leak was good. They also had an online question bank. So after I would read through whatever chapter or section in Leak, I would also do their questions online associated with that. And I believe you get a 6-month access to that. So I will say just be careful with that because some of my classmates started theirs a little bit early, and by the time they were about to take their boards, it had already expired. So just be kind of strategic with when you actually do access the online portion. But I do think that Leak was great. I did find though that there were some minor editing errors in there, which wasn't that great, but like still, I would say like 95 to 97% of the information in here is very solid. So after doing the Leak book from about January, February to around March, around that beginning of April period is when I was trying to figure out what I could do for a review course. I knew I wanted to do some kind of review course where I could see something visually that was like a PowerPoint or something, and also hear someone speaking on a topic and potentially get some mnemonics, because I am mostly a visual learner, but I'm also auditory as well. So I knew that I needed that. So I did end up signing up for Sarah Michelle, and guys, I'm going to make a whole video on the Sarah Michelle NP reviews, but I absolutely loved Sarah Michelle. So I did her for 4 weeks. I was able to get through everything pretty well. When it hit the April period, that was when I was doing, I was probably doing about more like 2 to 3 hours a day to stay on track of everything. Because I wanted to get through the videos. There is a study guide associated with that you can take notes as you want to. And so that was a little bit more of intentional studying versus when I did the Leak book. And because you only have 4 weeks, you really want to make sure that you get the information soaking in. And I shouldn't say you only get 4 weeks. I mean, it's a monthly subscription, but I wanted to be able to actually finish it within that month subscription timeline. So also something that I forgot to say that I also used was TrueLearn. So my school was able to give us a TrueLearn free trial, I suppose, for about 3 months. So I did use TrueLearn throughout January through really through the first couple weeks of May even. And there were 2 full-length exams that we were given through TrueLearn, which was very helpful. I did maybe like 50 questions of TrueLearn a week. Maybe a little bit less than that. It wasn't like a stressful amount of practice questions for me, but it was something for me to get kind of used to reviewing the information. And as you guys know, like I did partner with TrueLearn in the past, so I had sampled a lot of their stuff in the fall even. I wasn't really mostly focusing on boards for that. It was more so for content review. But this time it actually was for the board exams. So after doing Sarah Michelle for about those 4 weeks that I was talking about, I had about 2 weeks left before my exam. And so at that point, I kind of switched gears. Before, it was more of content review and just reading through the content, doing practice questions related to the specific content that I was reviewing for that week or for that day. But then when I was about 2 weeks out, that's when I really started to focus more so on practice questions. That's really what worked for me. I'm not really someone who does a lot of flashcards. Taking notes helps me somewhat, and I did take some notes at this point on like my weaker areas, but mostly those practice questions and reading rationales really helped me. So I did invest at that point in the Sarah Michelle question bank, which was very helpful. I did 3 full-length practice exams. In those 2 weeks, I probably did one full-length practice exam a day. So I would wake up in the morning. I had scheduled my exam to be in the morning. So I wanted to kind of get my brain in the practice of like, okay, in the morning, you need to be able to be ready to take an exam. So every morning I would take a full-length exam. It would take like a while, take maybe 2 to 3 hours to get through the exam. I would then, take a little break, read through the rationales, and then I would go back and review any content in the afternoon that I still needed to be refreshed on, and then take any practice questions associated with that. I also, during those 2 weeks, took, I want to say 3 LEAK practice exams as well. I actually started with LEAK. I found those questions to be pretty straightforward. And the rationales were pretty good as well. So I did those. I also did an APEA predictor test. I did like that. I wouldn't recommend to do that too close to your exam though, because I wouldn't want it to decrease your confidence if it says you are like on the borderline. So I took it about a week before the exam knowing that. And I was thinking, if it says I'm not ready to pass, I know I'll be able to identify what my weak areas are and then hopefully be able to study and address those before my exam the following week. So I would say give yourself even 2 weeks before taking if you're going to take the APEA test or the predictor test. I would do it like 1 to 2 weeks before. But that was helpful for me, and I ultimately, a week before my exam, it said that I had a strong likelihood of passing, so that did make me feel better. Another practice exam that I did take was the AANP exam, and it sounds familiar, right? Because it's actually from the AANP credentialing board, and I was taking the AANP. It was on the pricier side. It was about $50 for 75 questions. And I don't regret it though. It was a little pricey. I don't think it's mandatory, but I did like it because it had the same layout of what it's going to look like when you're on your exam. So even down to what buttons you pick, how to highlight things. It did alleviate some anxiety for me just to know what it would look like and how the questions would sound. And I did find like the questions, it was a good way to gauge where I was with my studying of how difficult the question content would be. So I did those as well. I would recommend you don't have to do the exact exams that I did, but I do think doing full-length practice exams is very, very helpful. So yeah, guys, that is how I was able to pass my board exam within 2 weeks of graduation. And I'll probably make a few more videos about some of the some of the different scenarios that you might be in, because I know taking the exam that early is not going to be for everyone. But I do know that it is for some people, so I wanted to put it out there just in case you guys had questions. But I will say I didn't burn myself out with studying. I started early in terms of just reviewing basic information, and I did it slow. So I wasn't spending like 8 to 10, 12 hours a day studying. And I didn't really have a lot of mental fatigue. So I feel like all the information was going into my long-term memory, which helped really break things up. So if like my biggest recommendation really is to just start early. And I also took every weekend off. Even I would say at least 2 to 3 days a week you should take off from studying because of, other things you have going on, and just giving your brain a break. And yeah, I highly recommend the Leak book. If you want to start early, I would say start reading the Leak book early, because it's only $60 and it has pretty much everything that you need to know. So yeah, guys, I hope that this video was helpful. Like I said, look out for some more videos, and please put any questions that you have in the comments below, because I would love to address all of your questions, because I don't have that much time in these videos to address every single thing. And I want to keep them kind of short and concise for you guys, but don't worry, I'll definitely go into more detail in other videos as well. All right, guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with a friend who you know is studying for their board exams. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.